Yeah, and well done, Shane Van Gisbergen, but I can't wait to see him under pressure up here in the north, in the heat. And that's what I want to talk about, in the heat. Out here now, I don't know, 32 degrees. I reckon it's going to be about 35 by the time we get to races tomorrow. So really hot. Now, let's just talk about heat from two perspectives for a minute. First of all, the race car. Now, these race cars are built obviously to accept a fair bit of heat. A couple of the critical things are down here in what we call the blanking areas. Now, I've showed you before, but up in there, you can see that goes into the engine proper, that goes to the radiator, and these two on the outside cool the brakes. Now, you can see those little blankers in there that make the orifice a little smaller. I don't know if you can see in there, right? So by blocking that off a little bit, creates a bit more downforce on the front of the car. Now, for qualifying, that's all very nice. You can block those off, but when you've got to do a longer race and you're out there for an hour blazing around, very hard to blank those off. So that's the first thing. You need to tune the car for the heat. And tyres is a whole nother basket, and we're going to talk about that in depth tomorrow. Under the bonnet here, if you like, a little bit different to your road car. You'll see that ducting I was talking about comes back. This is your radiator sitting back in here. Now, the cars will run about, I don't know, 85 degrees if you're out in front in this sort of heat, but when you're in traffic, that'll be up around 100, 105 degrees centigrade. You don't want to go much hotter than that. That little one there, that cools the power steering. And then if we come around here the other side, look at this beautiful carbon fibre airbox, isn't it lovely? If we come right around here, now, Mitch, I'll dive underneath you here. This other cooler here, like a big radiator going across, is an oil cooler to keep the engine oil on the car cool. Now, a lot of this work that's done on the car, because you have to imagine there's 650 horsepower there generating heat, and all of that's going backwards against the firewall, right? It's not like your road car. You don't have carpet and air conditioning, all the rest of it. So that firewall gets really hot. And down here, I don't know if you can see down in there, Mitch, you can see there's silver paper, there's thermal insulation, they've got a little bit of carbon fibre down there I can see for an air gap. Can we just leave that undone? And Mitch, if you want to stick in the cockpit, so much of this is about cooling the cockpit. Now, I'm going to go around the other side here and stick my head in there. Hang on. Thanks, guys. Righto, so here we are in the cockpit. Dave Reynolds right there. Dave's about to go out and practice, mate, so don't lose focus, please. We're going to talk around you. So inside this cockpit for a race, you can expect upwards of 60 degrees centigrade. I mean, this is hot. Now, Dave's got a cool suit on. Inside here is, there you go, is dry ice, pumping nice cool fluid around a vest that he's wearing, and there's also cool air comes through here and is blown into his helmet. Now, that's all very nice, but I can tell you this is a hot and ugly circumstance in here, and what they're trying to do is to keep your core body temperature down, because when your core temperature comes up, you know, I'm no doctor, but I know that it goes from you go from aerobic performance to requirements in the anaerobic area. So your muscles start to pull. How'd that sound, Dave? There you go. That the energy stored in your muscle, so it becomes difficult and cramped. But the modern race driver, look at this guy, he's an athlete, they train and all the rest of it. But the thing that's really got my interest, okay, it's hot up here, but it's 32, 33 degrees hot. It's not exactly 50 degrees. What's the big dilemma? Well, I'll tell you what the big dilemma is. He's just left Melbourne, where in recent weeks it's been a quarter. You know, a third, a quarter of the temperature of up here. And then when he gets here, he goes to his hotel room, doesn't he? Sits in the cool in there, has a nice cool drink. So they're the sorts of challenges that the modern race driver got. And Dave, you might be interested to know, it was about 99. We were here doing some experimenting with Ford Australia. I swallowed a pill. They had a little transmitter in it, and it transmitted my core temperature. And I can't remember the exact number, but I reckon it was the equivalent of a really bad fever. Now, there's a really good fun story we'll talk about over a beer about how I got the pill out later, mate, because it's worth a lot of money. There you go. So there's heat. There's an athlete.
Thanks, Larko. Tell Davey, don't tell us. We don't want to know.